What's up guys, and welcome back to Stutter Solutions, and today we're talking about Call of Duty Warzone and its latest update that it brought out, which is basically 3 gigs. Now today I'm going to go over something very important, and that it's the config file itself inside Call of Duty Warzone, or just in general in Call of Duty. What you can do inside the config file to make your game run much smoother, get a stable frame rate, and also get a FPS boost inside this game. So let me show you basically a comparison. I had to take a screenshot. Let me go ahead and show you this. So this is basically me having my total cores on my machine. So I have an 8-core 8-thread CPU and having it as 8 cores in my config file, and I got about 145 FPS over here. And this is me halving my cores to 4. Now I'm doing about 150 FPS by halving my cores. So it's a complete fuck up of a situation inside the config file, but let me show you what you're going to need to do inside the config file, because there's a few things you need to do and to understand. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so the config file is a whole fuck up of a situation right now. So all you're going to need to do is just go to your file explorer like this, and then just open it up, and then go to your documents, go to Call of Duty, players, and then go to this file over here that says options 3 cod 22, and then open this up. You're just going to open this up, and then I'm going to explain something to you that I highly recommend that you go ahead and change. Okay, I highly recommend you go and change these things right now at this very moment. So you're going to scroll a bit down, just a slight bit down, and you're going to change this over here, this one over here, to false. Yours will say true. You can just copy this false into here. Yours will say true, or you can just type false yourself. This is the first thing I highly recommend that you go ahead and change. Now, the reason why I say that you should change this from true to false is what it's going to do is it's actually going to stable out your FPS in the game. Now, I have seen people actually commenting this on Reddit that it actually fixed their FPS issue. Some people are experiencing FPS being all over the place, and this actually fixes the issue of your FPS being all over the place, like just randomly bouncing around inside the game. You want your frames to be more stable, so all you need to do is change that to false, and you will have more of a stable gameplay. Trust me, this does work. I have tried this myself, and it actually makes the frames a little bit more stable. They aren't so all over the place. Yeah, they will still jump around when you're playing, but there will be more of a consistent basis. Alright, so the next thing I highly recommend you go ahead and change is this one over here, the maximum distance at which clutter models are rendered. Now, you might play around with this setting inside the game itself by putting it at low, okay? Now, by you putting it at low, what it's going to do is it's going to put this at 25,000. Now, all you're going to need to do is you can just take this one over here, if you want to. You can just take this one over here, just like this, and right click on it and say copy and put it inside this, right? So inside here, just like this, copy mine exactly as it is. And what it's going to do is it will actually not try and render things in very far away from you, but only like up to a certain amount of meters in front of you. And what it's going to do is it will actually give you an FPS boost. It will make your game run a little bit smoother. So I do highly recommend you go ahead and change this right now. If you haven't done this already, please go ahead and do this. This will give you a performance increase. We can go deep down a rabbit hole here by changing things inside here, because this is Call of Duty's config file, so you can play around with these settings inside here, but I don't recommend just going ahead and changing things to true and false and changing stuff to low and off and on. Don't do that. Don't go down the rabbit hole and break your whole entire fucking game. Please don't go ahead and do that. Now, at this very moment, a lot of people are saying that you should put this on your maximum cores, or your total cores. Now, in the beginning of my video, you saw a comparison video of me having it at half and then having it as my total cores. Now, something I highly recommend you go ahead and do is change this to half your cores. So if you have 8 cores, put this at 4. Okay? If you have 12 cores, put this at 6. You get the point. You just need to half the cores of your CPU. I have an 8-core machine, and I put it at 4, so that's half of my cores. And I actually get an FPS boost by halving my cores inside here with my 9700K CPU. It's an i7 Intel CPU. Now you can go ahead and try this out, just half your cores inside here, and then once you're done with all of these that you just changed right now, all you're going to need to do is go to the little file over here and click on save, and then you can close out of this. Now, let me show you something that's very important for Call of Duty right now at this very moment with its latest update. Yes, I know, every time Call of Duty does an update, they break the entire game, and we constantly need to change our settings. This is just unfortunate for us because that's just Call of Duty Warzone. But let me show you what you're going to need to do. Alright, so what I recommend you go and do right now at this very moment is actually go to the start button and go to settings, and then from here go to gaming, and then go to game mode. Highly recommend you go ahead and leave this on, especially for NVIDIA users. I'm not so sure about AMD, but AMD users, you can go ahead and try this out. Something that's very, very important is this over here, graphic settings, right? So your hardware accelerated GPU scheduling, turn it off. You need it to be off. And then this one over here, where people are adding their game inside here, you are going to now remove it. So if you have your COD inside here, your Warzone, go to the right over here and it will say remove. So you click on your game and say remove, click on your game and say remove. Go ahead and remove all of your games inside here, and then also turn off hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Once you are done with that, so now before you close this over here, I highly recommend you go ahead and click on the home button over here, and then go to privacy, scroll all the way down to where you see background apps. Now for people out there that's running Windows 11, it's a bit more complicated. You need to individually close these things and disable these things inside here, all of these things here for Windows 11. Now if you are a Windows 10 user like me, all you're going to need to do is go from like this, by it being on, to it being off. Turn it off. So all of these things over here don't run in the background on your PC using your resources like your CPU and your RAM. So you don't want it to run in the background while you are playing your game. I highly recommend you go ahead and do this. Before I end off this video, I just want to give a massive shout out to the people actually that's joining my membership over here, because I make exclusive content for my members only. So the video that I just uploaded right now at this very moment is completely different to my member only videos, and they're more in depth with like things to do to make your game run much better, and things to do to make your game actually work correctly instead of it crashing and stuff like that. So make sure you become a member on my YouTube channel and you will get exclusive content. Ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here, and as always, peace out.